Now we're talking about Mbappé, guys. How's it going? Welcome. Today is the day. First leg against Bayern Munich in the Champions League quarterfinals. A huge team in front of us, something really big. Because Madrid does great things in the Champions League, even in seasons when things aren't going well in La Liga. I don't want to dwell on that topic any longer. Today, it's all about winning no matter what and the excitement and all that. But before talking about Mbappe, I want you to see this. It's related to tonight's match, of course. And it's some footage they caught. It's curious. They always read the lips of Real Madrid players, which is fine because the more information I have about what's going on inside the Madrid locker room, the better. I mean, the more I see about how they interact with each other and so on, there will be people who think the opposite, who don't want information. I do this because I like information, right? So this thing from Rudiger to Carrero, well, that feels like real evidence to me. They did it yesterday on that Super 8 show on DAZN, on DAZN, on the goal, on Mallorca's first goal. Rudiger was telling Carreras, man, you're a defender, you're a defender. I can't show the images one after another, right? Because even if they're taken with a camera, they're recorded. Let's speak properly. Even if they're recorded with a camera, it's independent, it's an MG on the sidelines. Well, the league still gives you trouble, right? Right? Only in this one, in a previous one too. Yes, in a previous one, in the warning he got. Look, this is the same Morlan because it was when he headed over the goal defended by Lunin, which was the prelude to the goal. Rudiger also gets up and says to him, but how do you let him come in like that? He tells Carreras, how do you let him come in like that? And it's true that they were coming in there, well, with a lot of ease. You should also tell Rudiger, hey, why don't you give Camavinga the same scolding? I think Camavinga. But he notices what happened with Camavinga, who had already lost track of his man because I don't see Rudiger scolding some and not others either. Although, well, this Carreras is also a newcomer to the squad and all that, and maybe it's a bit easier because he's also had issues with Fran Garcia. One time he was telling Fran wasn't moving forward, he wasn't reaching the end line. Rudiger was there saying, damn it, move up so I can give you the ball. And this happened at the Bernabeu on another camera, one of those ENG cameras they used for a later report, always putting Madrid under the microscope, right? And he was telling him, go on. I mean, honestly, we like Don Antonio. We like him. He seems fun and all that. Even though he has his quirks, he's a good guy. If he were our rival, let's call it like it is. If he were our rival, we'd be all over him. We'd have him figured out too. I'm just saying. But then he does these things with certain teammates. I think it was good that he said that to Carreras because he needed to wake up. And in fact, that's where the goal comes from. Because, among other things, also letting them get in too easily. And it happens for more reasons. But hadn't we already been warned before? Well, the reflection it brings, apart from what I'm saying is, it's who's at left back today to face Olise. It's just that, damn, Olise, Luis Diaz, Kane, and Kane is going to play. And on the wings, well, we have Trent, number 30, Alexander Arnold, and Carreras or Fran Garcia. I prefer Fran Garcia. I said it in yesterday's video. I don't know who you would choose. Let me know in the comments. I think that Fran, even though in theory he defends worse than Carreras, what Carreras did in Mallorca was terrible, just terrible. So, well, speaking about this whole business of catching what people say by lip reading, what a coincidence that, as always, and it's DAZN too, they're about to catch it. Just a moment, it's DAZN too. There are people who complain, and with good reason, about people reading Lamine Jamal's lips. Has it ever happened? The one who does it really well is the guy from Plus, who is someone we've laughed at in videos and so on, because he left. He was the one who invented the voice impersonator bit. The guy who voices Vinicius and Mbappe imitates them really well. He also created the bit about the asylum doors opening. Me to that guy, to that man, to that professional, I mean, the problem isn't him. The problem isn't him. He does his job, and he does it very well. Maybe the problem is with his bosses, right? Then with Amin Jamal, well, there's no one else like him, or they won't give him those kinds of pieces or videos to dub. I don't know. I also don't really follow the day after, except for the clips they post on social media so that Amin Jamal can be imitated too, right? And so the Barca players can be imitated too. I think maybe some of them do, but Amin isn't well known, and he talks just as much or even more than Vinicius on the field. And he also confronts the stands, and he confronts everyone. And here there was an episode with Amin Jamal and some people on the sidelines with Flick and Flick's assistants telling them to go to hell, making gestures with his arm and all that. But what is this DAZN? They never read lips, man, never. And of course you wonder, hey, did they at least read his lips when he went over and said something to Flick? Because he definitely said something to him. I mean, you can read, sorry, but you can read lips here when Flick wants to shake his hand, wants to greet him and says something. Damn it, well, that's something we want to know what it is. If it were Vinicius, there's no way they wouldn't catch him, right? So it's always the same old story. I mean, it's always the same old thing. But I didn't want to talk about this. I wanted to talk about the Mbappe thing. I agree. I agree with what Picon said. I agree partly. It's a topic that's being talked about. We're not going to play all of what Picon said because it's too long. But basically, he says he calls him Real Madrid's Kevin Durant, right? He said it in El Desmarque and says, it's amazing that they signed Mbappe, but he doesn't improve the teams he's on. I don't see Real Madrid being better since he arrived. And it's true. And it's a topic that, hey, it might be taboo, but for me, it's not. I talk about this and about whatever is needed, whether it's good or bad for Madrid. That's why I made a channel, right? Not to censor certain things. I don't censor anything, and I think it's worth discussing. Some will say, no, don't bring it up today, but I did. It's being brought up every day. Precisely because of that. Because today has to be Mbappe's day. But this is true. He's a spectacular soccer player. He's a player who can, well, like last year, how many did he score? 40, 48, right? In the end. But he doesn't improve Madrid collectively. So much so that in the last few games in which he wasn't in the starting lineup, in the games before Mallorca, and then coincidentally they lost to Mallorca, right? Well, Madrid's attack was something like it worked better, more organic. Being totalmente, which apparently makes no sense at all because you don't play your top scorer and yet you function better up front. That's the very strange duality Madrid is dealing with. I think Arbeloa must be thinking that too. How could he not? But he has no other choice. Arbeloa is screwed, like many coaches at Madrid. They arrive and have to put up with certain players in a way not exactly forced. I don't believe Florentino goes to the locker room every time and says, you have to play this guy. Yes, certain attitudes, comments, and things, we've seen them all our lives, especially with Florentino. And yesterday, when they asked Arbeloa, he said, come on, let's see, what coach wouldn't want to have Mbappe? And he's right too. Now, there's an answer from Arbeloa that I like, and it's the one where he says, let me check if I have it. I don't know if I hit like on it or if I have it here. I like this one. Here. When he says that thing, ask me after the match against Bayern, look, coach.
Here's Marcos de la Rocha live on Chiringuito's Twitch. Given the season and recent Mbappe events.
One moment, this is being picked up by Real Madrid TV, and I don't want any trouble with these people. I have to do the usual silly thing, but that's how the club is with its communication policy. Messing with content creators and staying silent in the face of insults from Barca. All right, let's continue. Also, El Chiringuito asks him, the question from El Chiringuito is, of course, asked with bad intentions.
Coach, this is Marcos de la Rocha on El Chiringuito's Twitch. With the season and everything with Mbappe, do you think he still doesn't understand Real Madrid?
Mbappe knows perfectly well what Real Madrid is. I have no doubt about it. He's a guy who has dreamed of being a Real Madrid player. We've all seen images of Kylian Mbappe wearing the Real Madrid jersey, dreaming of being a Real Madrid player. What he has done to come here hasn't been easy at all. And as I told you, right, I would like you to ask me this after the tie against Bayern.
Well, pay more attention to the tense. I would like you to ask me this when the tie against Bayern is over. Well, Arbeloa is making it easy for us here. It's Mbappe's moment, without a doubt. Today is Mbappe's match, and at the Allianz, it will be Mbappe's match. Be careful. Mbappé already scored 3 goals at home against City. A hat-trick against City last year, even if they were weakened, as you say, is still impressive. We've seen him perform in big games, but something's still missing. This is it. Mbappé joined Real Madrid for moments like this. And you might think that Madrid, as a team, over a series of matches and so on, plays worse with a guy like Mbappé, who, it's true, really changes things, whatever. But today is Mbappe's day. Tonight is Mbappe's night. And then watch out. If he doesn't show up today, if he doesn't show up at the Allianz, if we end up without the Champions League again because the guy doesn't show up, and then in 2026 he scores another 50 or 60 goals. But we haven't won anything. We've had another trophyless season, so we'll have to tell you, your goals are good, but you came here for this and aren't doing it, right? Anyway, I'll also tell you that it's always been said, I mean, these things have always happened at Madrid. And Paul Tenorio made a good point about it in a tweet. Real Madrid improves and perfects his possession game without Cristiano Ronaldo. Madrid defends better without CR7. Real Madrid performs better without Cristiano Ronaldo. Back in 18, mind you. Real Madrid is captivating without Cristiano. Mourinho's team played their best first 45 minutes of the season to defeat Racing and overcome Cristiano's absence. So this isn't new. In fact, people said all kinds of things about Benzema at the time. And look at the years Benzema had after that. So, well, let's wait. The thing is, it's really obvious in a second year. It's really obvious, no matter how many goals you score, if you don't show up in any of these matches, because Cristiano, at least in his first matches with Real Madrid, even though Madrid didn't win anything in 2009 to 2010, no, but in 2010 to 2011, they did win. Copa del Rey already won with a goal from Cristiano. That Barca seemed impossible to beat because they played so well and had Negreira. That's when Cristiano showed up. This year, Mbappé needs to step up. I have to say, he always scores against Barca. He's the only one who does. Still, we usually lose, though not always. We didn't in the league. You know what I mean. Anyway, there are people who really dislike Mbappé, and there's a movement on social media that's really nasty. I don't like it at all. Absolutely not at all. It's gotten to the point where certain limits have already been crossed, right? There's a page that you're seeing here. I haven't opened the page, just posted a screenshot. Hold your breath until the end of the countdown, right? And then it's here counting every second. You come in here and you see the 3 years, 2 months, 25 days left for this. This was taken yesterday, right? Now there will be less time left until Mbappe's contract expires. This page, I said from the start, what nasty intent, what spite. It turns out that Alberto Cosin from La Galerna, who is a great journalist, by the way, also great on Twitter, a great guy too. I met him, tells them, you're pieces of crap, you're scum. And I hope they sue you. The guys who, in theory, are someone called Aroba and Doxby and a Sensi20, because it even says down here that it's them, right? From website made by this Doxby and a Sensi20. Well, and that is made supporters by visiting. Well, I'm not even going to say it. Well, you can see it there. There's a part here where it says if he renews his contract, if he extends the contract, same as Lee Harvey. Who is Lee Harvey? Well, Lee Harvey was the one who assassinated Kennedy. It's just unbelievable. And of course, the Sen page, Asensi, this is a funny guy who puts Mbappe here with a Ballon d'Or and all that. So he posts a tweet where he says, they're associating me with this page, not me, and so on. They're the type of Twitter users who treat everything as a joke, stay anonymous, and don't show their photo or identity. I don't know, but this whole thing is taking a turn that I really don't like. And this is really serious, man. This is really serious. I mean, whoever laughed at that joke, well, it definitely isn't funny at all. Sorry, I've had the logo up the whole time. It happens to me. I hope you don't mind. And you might be wondering, what's this guy talking about? It happens to me a lot that when I go to the pages and scroll up and down, I'm not actually seeing what I'm showing live at that moment. Well, live, sort of. It's actually a recording. And so I don't realize that I haven't removed the logo. Sorry about that. I think you saw it just the same. All the best to you. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, share, and that's it. All right, tonight there's a match. There will be a live stream after the game on YouTube, and that's it. It's going to be a great night, a European night for Madrid. I'm sure of it. I think there will be a great welcome for the Real Madrid bus and, well, images that we already have in our minds, and that will be repeated, hopefully. Come on, Hala Madrid. Bye, guys.